Well, it's good to see you again as well. You're like my favorite human being. So,
Nice to see you too, and it was lovely to see you in person this past Sundance. So
yeah, it
after so
was.
many Zooms, to finally get to sit together and have a cup of tea was nice. So
I'm so happy for your book, Be an Angel. It's just doing really well.
it is. It made bestseller lists, so I'm very pleased about that. And I've already had so much great feedback from people saying, that they're just finding it helpful and it's a good reminder. Obviously, it's a simple enough premise, but I think the times that we're living in, for all the reasons I wrote the book in the first place, which was to remind each of us to be kind to each other, all still
Yeah.
exist. With each week we just get more and more bad news out there. It's like, I don't know what's going on in the world. Sometimes I feel like we're living in an upside down planet, but I'm all the more committed to being in the business of hope, telling stories of encouragement and inspiration, whether it's in my writing
Mhm.
or in my, the choices of content that I am able to produce. And, which brings us naturally into the theme of On a Wing and a Prayer.
Tell me a little bit about getting this project and the blessings and the miracles that surrounded this project.
Well, as you know, Tony, I run Lightworkers, which is a division, faith and family division at MGM. And I really am committed to telling stories of upliftment and encouragement. And so consequently, I get sent a lot of scripts, sometimes a lot of spec scripts. And, the script came in from Brian Egeston, wonderful screenwriter who had himself actually been taking some flying lessons and was encouraged by the instructor to listen to the real life audio of Doug White
Mhm.
uh, in crises talking to air traffic control. And he couldn't believe what he was listening to when he discovered this on YouTube. You could actually go and find these actual audio tapes that the movie is based on YouTube, because, of course, the movie is based on a real life true event. And so he wrote this spec screenplay that ended up on my desk. And I read the screenplay. I couldn't believe what I was reading. It was like a page turner. I was so enthralled with it. The story was so compelling. And it was true. I couldn't believe it. And I thought this will become a great movie. A few months later, I was working with my team developing the script with Brian and the co-producer, Autumn Bailey Ford. And I had a meeting with Dennis Quaid on a completely different project. And during the course of that conversation with Dennis, he shared with me that he had a hobby, and that hobby was that he liked to fly planes. He was a pilot.
Wow.
And so it's like a light bulb went on in my head. And I said, Dennis, have I got a great script for you? I'd love you to read the screenplay I have called On a Wing and a Prayer. I think there's a great role for you in it. I think you'll love this story. And he did. The rest is history. I got him involved. I got Sean McNamara involved to direct. Sean, of course, did Soul Surfer,
Yeah.
which is a movie I had loved about Bethany Hamilton, a young Hawaiian woman who lost her arm in a shark attack. So I knew that Sean was more than capable of telling stories about emergency crises, but stories that had heart. And those were the qualities that I was looking for a filmmaker to bring this together. Heather Graham and Jesse Metcalf round out the cast for us. And here we are, the real life event, which was a family got on a flight in Fort Myers, Florida, to go to Louisiana, where they lived, to go back home. 4 passengers, mom, dad, and 2 kids, 1 pilot on board. And as they're taking off from Fort Myers, going through the clouds, the pilot has an unexpected mass heart attack and dies.
Mm.
And an extraordinary story. This family, the Dennis Quaid character, is now left at the wheel of a plane that he doesn't know how to fly. And the drama and the tension of the piece plays out with how is he going to land this plane, and it's not bad enough, but his wife and children are in the back. It's really an extraordinary story, Tony, and just so excited that we finally get to share it this Easter weekend. It's streaming on the Amazon Prime platform, and it goes up on Good Friday, and we'll be there all Easter weekend and beyond. So if you enjoy it this Easter weekend and you have a friend that you might enjoy it, they can come in at any point to watch it. But listen, I still love to go to the movies, but I have become my theater going habits have changed a little bit since the COVID pandemic. And if a movie is screening and I get to stay at home and sit on my own couch and nuzzle up with my own family, I really do enjoy that. So, this is going to exist for this film. And I have made a family film here. And I think that's important. There's so few things that we can watch currently to sit down comfortably with your kids or with your own parents and check something out. And this is about that. And it's about, hope. It's about inspiration. It's about the power of prayer. It's about, good things can happen in extraordinary circumstances. And, don't stop believing.
Heather Graham told me that this was one of the best projects she's ever worked on.
Well, that's great to hear. She's a true delight. I mean, not only is she gorgeous, she's super sweet and kind and gracious. She was very well prepared for the role. It was a challenging shoot for my actors because there was a certain claustrophobia to shooting in the cockpit of a plane, albeit a plane that we bought and chopped up so that we took the roof off so we could get the camera angles. We had dollies and, movement all around, but they're really essentially in this very, very small space for a long period of time. And, it was shot against green screen so we could drop in the sky behind them. The cockpit of the plane was on a hydraulic system so that we could create movement. There was a lot of technical stuff going on there that honestly, I don't know that much about, but I hired the best people that did know about it. And it all, looks very believable and real up there. And then we have loads of places to cut to. Jesse Metcalfe plays the main pilot on the ground, who's the expert in this particular kind of plane. He's supposedly in his garage in Connecticut. And then we have air traffic control Miami. We have air traffic control Fort Myers. So we had lots of places to shoot to. So the movie isn't a claustrophobic experience for the audience, but it certainly was for our principal players who were in that. And even for Jesse Metcalfe, who played Carrie Sorensen on the ground, because he's doing most of his talking into a phone. And so he's not actually, there was somebody else just reading the lines. So everybody was slightly in their own. Dennis is up there in the cockpit. The real Doug White said that he had just focused fear. He wasn't really thinking or feeling anything up there. He said if he was going to die, he was going to die trying not to.
Well, that's a good example for all of us to follow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to be doing more films?
I certainly hope so. Yes. I mean, that's my, I really see my future having a lot more producing. I really enjoy it. I feel there's a need for this kind of film, this genre of filmmaking. As I touched upon earlier, I think just in this sort of bad news cycle that seems to never end, I think the entertainment content that we select and choose to look at, everybody's looking for a little bit of light, a little bit of respite in that, a little bit of a reminder, that hope is real and that when we work together, we can make a difference, because you really see that mobilization of these folks on the ground. These people would not have survived. And it's an impossible situation if every single person hadn't been doing what they did and come together on that fateful day, which happened to be Easter. It was an Easter Sunday that it occurred. So it feels very appropriate that Prime are putting us on their platform for the Easter weekend, because it is a story of redemption, of resurrection of sorts. You know, I mean, we have a lovely scene in the movie, Tony, where the mom and the two girls are praying. They literally hold hands and they pray it in. Now, arguably, there are no atheists in a foxhole.
I've heard that.
You know, if you or I were in a plane that had no pilot, chances are we would be praying too. I know I would be.
Yeah, I
But
would be.
in this particular story, they are a family of faith, so prayer came naturally to them. But we see in the story, the air traffic control are preparing the emergency service. You know, get your trucks down there. Do you have extra trucks? Get more trucks down there, because they were anticipating when that plane, if the plane made it to the runway, that what was going to transpire was just a fiery ball. That there was no way this plane was going to, you know, survive impact. And we have a very moving sequence where we're cutting against the emergency services getting ready. They're strapping on their coats, their tanks. They're, you know, preparing for this sort of mess of this plane crash. And we cut to the girls on the plane holding hands and saying the Lord's Prayer together. And it's a surprisingly poignant montage. It's really very moving. And I had a screening just this past weekend. We were honored at the Sarasota Film Festival, and the movie had the opportunity to close the festival. We were the closing night picture. And so I got to see the film with about 500 people in the audience. And it was just great to see, you know, it's a different experience seeing it with a group of people. They laughed in all the right places. They, you know, inhaled and they maybe didn't exhale for an hour, because it's, you know, it's sit on the edge of your chair viewing, nail biting, you know, there's a lot of tension, a lot of drama. And then a big release of emotion. There are a lot of people crying at the end of the screening there. So I know,
sweet crying.
yes, no, that's right. I felt like we have an audience pleasing movie.
Yeah,
You know?
and congratulations on the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was joking when I made my acceptance speech that, you know, it's the kind of thing that you associate with older people. I was like, oh, Lifetime Achievement. I said, I'm only getting started. But it has been a very busy first quarter. You know, I mean, I didn't anticipate when I wrote my book, or even when I produced this film, that they both would be coming out within a few weeks of each other. So I hit the ground running for 2023, and I haven't stopped yet. But I'm looking forward now to a little bit of a break over Easter with my husband, my family, and my dogs, and to just all kind of chill out a little bit, you know, because all you can do is your best, and then you let it go, you share it with the world. You know, we've been using all kinds of airplane analogies and puns this week. It's like the movie's ready to take off. We hope it lands on a screen in your home this weekend.
I think it's a lovely film, and it's just and it will be seen. You're going to have a great feedback over Easter. And I know that you've been working really, really hard in promoting the film. I mean, you've been all over the country.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah. Well, you
you
know,
visited a friend of mine, Dave Morales, in
yes, yeah.
in Texas, and he says you were just lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely. Texas was amazing. You know, I mean, listen, I think it's the part of our business, and people ask me, young folks coming into the industry, and I say, you know, it's like you could almost break down what the requirement is into three things. You know, you have to have the idea to come up with whatever it is that you're doing, and then you have to make the thing, you know, like whatever that's, you know, hard. But then, you know, the third of it that people forget is that you have to promote it, because you could have the greatest book or the greatest TV series or the greatest film in the world, but if nobody knows it's coming and nobody sees it, I mean, it's a communicative arts, you know. I didn't tell the story to live in a vacuum. I wanted to get the story out there to touch people's hearts, you know. One of my favorite quotes, I love poetry, and today happens to be the birthday of Maya Angelou, and she was one of my favorites. And I had the good fortune to know her and to work with her because she actually guest starred on Touched by an Angel. And she was very good friends with my co-star, my beloved Della Reese, as they were soul sisters. And when Della introduced me to Maya, she introduced me as her daughter. She said, "This is my baby, Roma." And Maya said, "Well, I am your sister. So if I am your sister and she is your daughter," she said to me, "that must make me your aunt." And, I could have died happy because I have loved her work for as long as I can remember loving poetry, which is just about forever. So it's her birthday today. But I was thinking that one of the quotes of hers, which I'm sure I'm paraphrasing, but she said, it's not, people won't remember what you said, and people won't remember what you did, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And, I think of that sometimes because my life in this space, in the feeling space, as an actor, as a writer, as a producer, a lot of my motivation is to try to create a feeling in the audience or the reader, that's a feeling of inspiration. So I think that my team, because it takes a village to make a movie, and the team here has really, everybody brought their best game. There's a lot of excellence in this picture. And I think the combined collective experience of that is that it creates a great feeling of hope. And this is the season of hope. So, we're thrilled. This is the beginning of my relationship with Amazon. Our company sold to them last year, and they've been terrific to work with. And as I say, I'm very pleased that they saw the wisdom of putting our picture on their platform for Easter. The true story was set at Easter, and it is a story of redemption and salvation. So,
and family and prayer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Everybody should just watch. They should watch it twice. Begin watching it on Friday and don't stop until Sunday because oh man, Roma, it is so good to always catch up with you. You got to promise me that you're going to rest up.
I will. I'm gonna Sunday I'll go to church, and then I'll come back and I will eat a lot of chocolate because I'm sure the Easter Bunny will have swung by. And then I think I'm going to put my feet up for a minute and just I've earned a little bit of a break. And then, I'm sure before long I'll be looking to see what's next.
What's next? Yeah, it's always with us. I think that's what we always say. What's next?
That's what I do, so it doesn't feel like work, but I have to say it's just all the travel, but I'm ready. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with how the film turned out and what the response so far has been, and excited just to see as it goes out and out. Would love to hear from folks what they think.
And I have been anxious to talk with you about this film since we way back when we first talked about it, and now that I've seen it for the first time, it's just I want to go see it again. I'm waiting for it to come on Prime. So congratulations again, Roma, my dear friend, and I adore you, and happy Easter to you and your family.
Thank you, to you and to yours. All the best. Take care.
Love you. Bye bye.